The observation deck of the Intergalactic Combat Academy hummed with the usual pre-match energy. Fletcher stood near the reinforced viewing glass, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light of 3 distant suns. As a Krathan warrior, he'd trained his entire life for combat, his people renowned across 17 systems as the galaxy's premier fighters. The human actually accepted the challenge? His mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. I almost feel guilty. His companion, a towering Vexorian with 6 arms, rumbled in agreement. Their species has only been in the Galactic Federation for 3 cycles. They don't understand the hierarchy yet. Fletcher watched as Ginny entered the arena below. She was small by most species standards, barely 5.5 feet tall with brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her frame looked fragile compared to the combat suits and natural armor of other Federation species. She wore simple training clothes and wrapped her hands methodically, ignoring the crowd gathering above. "Look at her," Fletcher said, his tone dripping with condescension. "No exoskeleton, no subdermal armor plating, no enhanced musculature. The humans are weak and they don't even realize it." The comment carried across the observation deck. Several species nodded in agreement. Humanity's admission to the Federation had been controversial. They possessed no natural weapons, no remarkable physical attributes, no evolutionary advantages that screamed survivor. They were soft, slow, and inexplicably stubborn. Ginny looked up at that moment, her eyes finding Fletcher's through the transparisteel barrier. She smiled, not with friendliness, but with something that made Fletcher's internal temperature regulators falter for just a moment. It was the smile of someone who knew something he didn't. The arena master, a 4-eyed Quilarian, activated the combat zone. Standard Federation rules. First to yield or lose consciousness. Medical team standing by. Fletcher descended to the arena with the confidence of someone who had never lost a sanctioned match. His record was flawless. 47 victories, 0 defeats. The Krathan warrior tradition demanded perfection, and he delivered it consistently. "I'll try to make this quick," he said as they faced each other across the combat circle. "No need for you to suffer unnecessarily." Ginny rolled her shoulders, her movements loose and relaxed. "That's considerate of you. I'll try to do the same." Fletcher struck first, his speed impressive for a being of his size. His fist, backed by hydraulic muscle fibers and armored in biometallic plating, shot toward Ginny's midsection with enough force to dent a shuttle hull. She wasn't there. Ginny had moved, not with the blur of enhanced speed, but with practiced efficiency. Fletcher's momentum carried him forward, and he felt something he'd never experienced in the arena before. Vulnerability. Her punch came from an angle he hadn't anticipated. It wasn't particularly fast by galactic standards. It wasn't enhanced by technology or biological superiority. It was simply a human fist, guided by thousands of years of refined martial tradition, powered by muscles that had evolved to throw projectiles with lethal accuracy, backed by a skeletal structure designed to transmit kinetic energy with brutal efficiency. The impact point was precise, a nerve cluster just below his thoracic ridge that his armor didn't quite cover. Pain exploded through Fletcher's system. Not the dull ache of a heavy blow, but sharp, precise agony that bypassed his pain dampeners entirely. His exoskeleton cracked with a sound like breaking glass. But that was just the beginning. Ginny didn't stop. She flowed through combinations that seemed simple but were devastatingly effective. Each strike found gaps in his defense, weaknesses in his structure that shouldn't have existed. She hit nerve clusters, joint connections, and pressure points with the precision of a surgeon and the force of a piston. Fletcher tried to counter, but his body wasn't responding correctly. The pain was doing something to his combat processors, overwhelming them with sensory data. He'd been hit harder before, much harder, but never like this. Never with such surgical precision. "Do you know what makes humans dangerous?" Ginny asked, ducking under a wild swing. Her voice was calm, almost conversational. "It's not our strength. It's not our speed." She pivoted, and her elbow found his solar plexus analog. "More pain. More system failures. It's that we've spent our entire evolutionary history finding new ways to hurt things bigger and stronger than us. We're persistence predators, Fletcher. We don't quit. We don't give up. We just keep coming until the fight is over." Fletcher dropped to one knee, his vision flickering. This wasn't possible. The biological readings were clear. Humans were weaker. The data didn't lie. The data didn't account for technique, Ginny said, as if reading his thoughts. It didn't account for thousands of years of martial arts development. It didn't account for the fact that we've been fighting each other, studying combat, refining violence into an art form since before we even left our home planet. She stood over him now, not gloating, just waiting. We're not the strongest, she continued. We're not the fastest. But we're the ones who turned fighting into science. Every punch, every kick, every movement optimized over millennia of trial and error. You called us weak because you measured the wrong things. Fletcher tried to rise, but his body finally gave up. He collapsed onto the arena floor, conscious but unable to continue. The pain radiating through his system had rewritten something fundamental in his understanding of combat. The arena was silent. Above on the observation deck, dozens of species watched in stunned disbelief. The human, the supposedly weak, fragile human, had dismantled one of the Federation's top fighters with her bare hands. Ginny offered Fletcher her hand. After a moment, he took it, allowing her to help him to his feet. "You're not weak," he managed to say, his voice processors struggling with damaged systems. "I was wrong. We're all weak in some way," Ginny replied. "The trick is making sure our strengths matter more." She smiled again, and this time Fletcher understood it completely. "Welcome to Fighting Humans, Fletcher. We hope you enjoyed your free lesson." As medical teams rushed in, the observers above began to murmur, their conversations filled with new respect and perhaps a touch of fear. Humanity had just announced itself in a language the galaxy understood perfectly. Violence refined to its most elegant form, Fletcher would recover. His pride would take longer to heal, but more importantly, he would never again mistake lack of natural advantages for weakness. The humans had just taught the galaxy a lesson that would echo through the Federation for generations to come. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't what you're born with. It's what you learn to do with what you have.